Hi everybody, welcome to another one of my videos. Well, summer has definitely hit when I live, even though it's not officially summer. And that happens most years here. We got our first day of a few very hot, humid kind of weather. You know, I don't mind summer, like shorts, sandals, tank tops, pools, that's all great. What I don't like is it's just the humidity. Sweating excessively. It can be harder to, this is scrunching and hairspray and gel. It's not, my hair is naturally wavy. I wish it did this on its own, but the stuff I use, it holds up pretty well in the summer months. So anyways, I wanted to talk about a book that I've read. One that, I'm feeling I should have done a video on this sooner, because it's a book that is an absolute must-read for anyone who is thinking of leaving the organization and anyone who has left already. And that, of course, is Crisis of Conscience by Raymond Franz, a former Jehovah's Witness himself. I'm sorry, sitting outside and there's an ant crawling up my leg. So Raymond Franz was born in 1922 and he died in 2010. So he's a man, the Jehovah's Witness that rose throughout many levels in his service as a Jehovah's Witness. He was influenced by family members growing up in it. He was a governing body member from 1971 to 1980, and he served at the world headquarters from 1965 to 1980. And it was around 1979 that him and his wife had woken up and just realized, this wasn't the truth and the error of their ways and its ways, I should say. So he requested resignation and was disfellowshipped on allegations in apostasy. Can't remember for sure if it was 1980 or 1981. And he wrote two books, Crisis of Conscience, which I have read, and In Search of Christian Freedom. I have not read that one. Not yet, anyways. I should say not yet. So, now, this man was just like, he was in a very privileged position that most Jehovah's Witnesses can only dream of being in. A governing body member. And just serving at the world headquarters like that, so he would have saw everything. How they made the decisions, what decisions they made, what procedures, like what was their routine in that, of how they made all these decisions. So here's a guy that would have saw it all, that would have seen it all. So I wanted to read a couple quotes from Raymond Franz himself. So the first one I took was from when he was coming to a crossroad in his life. In this quote, "I had spent nearly 40 years as a full-time representative, serving at every level of the organizational structure. The last 15 years I had spent at the international headquarters, and the final 9 of them as a member of the worldwide governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses. It was those final years that were the crucial period for me. Illusions there met up with reality. I have since come to appreciate the rightness of a quotation I recently read, one made by a statesman, now dead, who said, 'The great enemy of the truth is very often not the lie, deliberate, contrived, and dishonest, but the myth. persistent, persuasive, and unrealistic. I now began to realize how large a measure of what I had based my entire adult life course on was just that, a myth. Persistent, persuasive, and unrealistic. That's deep, man. I think to wake up when you're in the top, when you're at the top like that, I think that says a lot. That just he saw through it for what it all really was. Now I read Crisis of Conscience a few years ago. Sorry, I read it a few years ago. I read it in digital format. So, I know I read it. I had already left when I read it. It was high on my list as a must-read. It's Raymond Franz. He's one of the most famous Jehovah's Witnesses that has ever left the organization. You know, I found it to be very interesting. I read it very fast. I got through it pretty quick because I found it very insightful, very informative. It gives you that rare glimpse inside. That rare glimpse inside of what really goes on behind closed doors of the governing body and of the world headquarters. And it's coming from a fellow Jehovah's Witness. Like, man, like that's like the icing on the cake. You know, now I know some might think that Raymond Franz wrote this book in anger or out of bitterness or out of frustration. No, I didn't sense that at all. I sensed that he wrote it from a very honest and truthful perspective. Just tell it how it is. Told it and how it is. If he really wrote it out of anger, honestly, I probably would have quit reading it myself. So no, like, he just talks about being a governing body member, how they made decisions, and just how he came to his own crisis of conscience, you know, just finding his own dilemma of choosing between loyalty to God and loyalty to one's religion. I know. I just wanted to read you one review that came from Christianity Today, which I thought is just totally awesome, a great way to sum up his book, which is, the book goes far beyond recounting Franz's personal crisis. It describes the much larger crisis that faces Jehovah's Witnesses worldwide. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Because when a Jehovah's Witnesses starts to wake up and see the Watchtower for what it really is, you know, pull that curtain back to realize what it really is, just a publishing company, a group of men that claim to be God's chosen people, the one and only true religion, and it's not. And they don't even care about their members as individuals. They make up all their own doctrines, and they even went as far to make their own Bible. You know, the same way I would recommend to everybody to really research the roots of the Jehovah's Witnesses, I would also highly recommend reading this book as part of that. I just want to read one final quote of Raymond Franz, which is, "I could not accept that organizational interpretations based on shifting human reasoning could ever be made equal in authority to the actual statements found in God's unchangeable word. So there you have it. That's what I wanted to say in this video. Thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. And go read Crisis of Conscience. Thank you. Bye.